In order to buy a villa for my cousin who graduated from junior high school, I agreed to my uncle to sign a guarantee agreement for him and let my uncle borrow money from the bank. In the end, my boyfriend and I's house was auctioned by the bank, causing my fiancé to jump off the building and commit suicide. I also committed suicide for love. After my reincarnation, I returned to the day when my uncle came to me to sign the guarantee agreement. When I got home from get off work, my mother and uncle were like two hunters waiting for their prey. They pulled me to the sofa, and then they ordered me shamelessly and arrogantly that your cousin was about to get married, and your uncle wanted to buy him a wedding house. Mom doesn't want to exploit you. You are my flesh and blood, and Mom is also distressed. I just want you to help sign a guarantee agreement so that your uncle can borrow money from the bank. My mother Li Aichuan looked gentle, as if she was very distressed about me. My uncle also looked embarrassed when he sat next to my mother. Both hands kept rubbing the corners of the clothes. It seemed that she really came to ask me for help because she encountered difficulties. If I hadn't been reborn as a human, I would know that this was just a double act by you. I was going to be plotted by you two siblings again. In my previous life, I couldn't resist their self-torture. I thought it was just a simple guarantee agreement. Unexpectedly, the two of them let the bank auction my wedding house, causing my fiancé to jump off the building and commit suicide. I also committed suicide for love. Every time I think of this, I can't suppress the anger in my heart. In fact, when I think about it carefully, it seems that it has always been like this since I was a child. My mother likes sons, but she gave birth to a daughter like me. My father can't say anything at home, so my mother openly left all her love to her favorite nephew. I still remember when I graduated from high school and was going to college, my mother forced me to drop out of school in order to raise tuition for my cousin to attend a noble middle school. If my fiancé hadn't worked to support me through school, I might have become a poor laborer at the bottom of society. More likely, I would be exploited by my mother and uncle for my entire life because of my ignorance, and I would never get ahead. However, the one they regarded as their treasure dropped out of school after junior high school, and spent a few years in society. It was ridiculous that he suddenly came back to get someone pregnant and wanted to get married. I discarded the chaotic memories, suppressed the anger in my heart, and smiled apologetically to my mother. Mom, my uncle is in trouble, and as his niece, I am obliged to help. But you have to have something to guarantee the signing of the guarantee agreement. How can you get something to guarantee it when you are penniless? Before my mother could speak, my uncle took the lead and said, "Don't you have a house under your name? The one your partner bought for you." As expected, all this was planned long ago. Mom realized that something was wrong and quickly turned around to give her uncle a blank look. Then she smiled at me and said, "My daughter, don't think too much. Your uncle just wants to get a loan from the bank as soon as possible to renovate the house. You know, your sister-in-law is pregnant, and the marriage must be done as soon as possible. It's really better than singing. I'd be sick if I believed your lies. Besides, my cousin's pregnant girlfriend is a professional marriage fraud. She specifically picked my cousin who is young and ignorant and can't get a marriage certificate. There's nothing she can do about him, and the baby in his belly is fake. In the previous life, because of his marriage fraud, my uncle's family was unable to turn over. They became more and more aggressive in sucking blood from me and my fiancé, which forced us into a dead end. How can I repeat the same mistakes in this life? I am still smiling apologetically. Mom, my uncle is anxious to buy a wedding house for my cousin, I understand. But our house was bought by Ashing's parents with their lifetime savings. They wrote my name on it out of respect for me, but I can't make the decision on my own. My uncle is a simple-minded person. He likes to show his feelings on his face. When he heard what I said, he immediately became unhappy. He grumbled with a dark face that he was just a delivery man. You looked up to him by using his house as collateral. Now he is lying in the hospital like a useless person. You must be blind to like him. My uncle's words were not polite at all. He left without saying anything. My mother's face was not very good. My daughter, you are too ignorant. My uncle is a member of our family. If the family is in trouble, who will help if the family doesn't help? Besides, your boyfriend, a delivery man, is he worthy of you, a graduate student? If you want to use his house, will his family say anything? My mother is still scheming. I have said so much, but she still won't give in. Don't make fun of my family. When I was in college and had no tuition, where was my family? I have been reading this book for 7 years, and this delivery man has never left me. Isn't this enough? Mom, I have something else to do at work. Let's talk about this another day. I don't want to get entangled with him anymore. I rushed to the hospital with my bag on my back. My fiancé accidentally fell off the car while delivering food and had a steel plate on his leg. I have to go see him. The benefit of rebirth is that in addition to letting me recognize who is the real family, it also lets me know a lot of things that will happen in the company in the future. Remembering the memory of my previous life, I successfully negotiated a few orders and became conspicuous in the company. The leader directly arranged a promotion and salary increase for me. I applied to the leader that if I can continue to have outstanding performance, I hope to be an airborne soldier in a branch company in another place. The leader readily agreed. This is the escape route I made to stay away from my mother and my uncle's family. Only in this way can I carry out my revenge without distraction. After seeing my fiancé, I didn't care about being sentimental. I warned him that no matter what my mother said or did to him, he should ignore it and leave as soon as his leg injury healed. I also hoped that he could contact the buyer in advance and sell the house so that we can live in another city. Because after my next transfer, my salary will become very considerable. With the money from selling this house, it will not be a problem to buy a better one in a big city. My fiancé loves me very much and he doesn't doubt what I say at all. He told me not to worry. After a while, my mother she came to me several times and hoped that I could sign a guarantee agreement, but I rejected them all. She never contacted me again after that. Our relationship became a little tense, but I was very close to her. I took good care of my fiancé for a few days to make up for my mistakes in my previous life. It was not until my cousin's cheating girlfriend said she was coming to get engaged that my mother contacted me again. My daughter, are you still angry with me? I was not thoughtful last time. Your cousin is getting engaged next week. As his sister, can you arrange a banquet for him as a blessing? This request is not too much, right? You really want to get every penny out of me. But in order to finish this drama, I still pretended to reluctantly agree. You can't catch a wolf without sacrificing a lamb, right? Besides, the money may not be taken from me. By the way, I can take this opportunity to get to know this fraudulent bride. As soon as I got home, I was stunned. What kind of operation is this? In the previous life, because of my guarantee, my uncle took out a loan to buy a new house. It was a villa on Dongshan Mountain. We met there before the engagement. In this life, he didn't get a loan, so this time it was brought to my house. The master bedroom became my cousin's room, and the second bedroom was originally my room, but it became my uncle's. My parents turned the large room in the living room into my room. The sofa was replaced with a folding sofa, which can be disassembled into a bed when sleeping at night. I haven't been home for a few days and my things have been stolen. My mother saw that I was confused, so she came over and smiled at me and said, "You don't go home often. I gave away all your useful things and threw away the useless ones. The room is empty anyway, so why don't you let your uncle come and live here first? What you said is really the end. It seems that my own daughter is really an outsider." After a while, the bride, Zhao Xiaoting, came to the door with her actor parents. Zhao Xiaoting specially wore a tight dress today, and you can clearly see the slightly bulging outline of her lower abdomen. I guess it was padded up on purpose, which shows how thoughtful he is. Sure enough, when my uncle saw Zhao Xiaoping's belly, he immediately smiled and hurried to welcome the family in. This was the old house where our family used to live. The new house has been bought, and we are just waiting for them to get married and move in. My uncle was like a traitor in an anti-Japanese drama, squinting his eyes and smiling in a fawning way, almost kneeling on the ground to lick the soles of people's feet. My mother was also very attentive. Before they even said a word when they entered the door, she helped hang up their coats and serve tea and water, just like an old nanny who had served for many years, and just listened to my uncle. How come the house where I have lived since I was a child has become his? I see to my dad, he sighed helplessly, sitting alone in the corner of the living room without saying a word. Let's sit here for a while. My daughter has arranged an engagement banquet for them. Let's go to eat directly. Zhao Xiaoting noticed me at this time, walked up to me with a gentle look. My cousin really took a lot of trouble. She held her waist with one hand and touched her belly with the other, pretending to be so decent, and the way she greeted me was like a lady from a noble family, which made people feel relaxed and happy, worthy of being a professional. I took out a bulgari necklace that I bought on Pinduoduo for 9.9 yuan from my bag, and handed it to her sister-in-law. This is a meeting gift from your cousin, don't be disgusted. Zhao Xiaoting knew at a glance that it was bulgari, but couldn't tell the real from the fake. She smiled happily and said thank you to me cheerfully. At this time my cousin also came out, with a face full of licking dog, holding Zhao Xiaoting's hand. It was so intimate. My mother suddenly took my bag from me, took out my car keys from it, handed them to my cousin. You two go first, let Tao Tao drive you. Zhao Xiaoting glanced at me, deliberately reversed my cousin's car. What should she do? My uncle interrupted, shouting, you don't have to worry about this. Your cousin and your cousin are closer than real siblings. This car is a wedding gift for you. We are almost. I'll take a taxi later. They're really rude. In my previous life, they forced the debt collectors to my doorstep and forced me to sell the car. Now they're planning to do the same after my rebirth. Well, in that case, don't blame me for being rude. My cousin took Zhao Xiaoting and left happily. My mother called the rest of the people and said, let's go down too. My daughter, go and get a taxi first. They're really trying to take advantage of me for every penny. But I remained calm and just took a taxi. It happened that I could go downstairs alone in advance. I quickly dialed the number. Hello, is this the traffic police? I want to report someone driving without a license. Yes, the license plate number is XXXXX05. We are on the way to the hotel. When we got to the hotel by taxi, my cousin and Zhao Shouting were still late. My uncle and my mother were a little worried. After a while, my uncle's phone rang. "Hello, are you Tao Tao's parents?" My uncle was stunned for a moment, but still gave a positive answer. "This is the traffic police detachment. We need to ask you for some information. Is your son's car your own?" Because the hotel was relatively quiet, everyone looked at my aunt. Although he didn't turn on the hands-free, everyone heard it clearly. My uncle looked at, but before my uncle could reply to the traffic police, my mother came forward and said that the car we gave to Tao Tao was our own car. What's wrong? Hearing this, I was finally relieved. As long as it's not my fault, you can bear the consequences. Haha, now I wish the car was yours. Your son was detained for 15 days and fined 1,500 yuan for driving without a license. As a parent, you lent your car to your child knowing that he didn't have a driver's license, and you will also be fined 2,000 yuan. Please take some time to come to the traffic police team. The traffic police hung up after saying this, leaving my uncle. My mother and I looked at each other and said, "My dear, look at what has happened. How come you have to pay a fine for lending your cousin a car? Go to the traffic police and help your cousin deal with it." Sometimes I really can't stand my mother. She is so scheming, but she pretends to be a good mother. She adds hypocrisy to her cunningness, which really makes me feel sick. When I was answering the traffic police just now, I was afraid that I would say the car was mine. My nephew who wanted to give me a car for free now has to pay the fine, but it suddenly became the car I lent him. In her words, she let him, someone said it, and I shook my head helplessly. It's 3,500 yuan, don't even think about blaming me for it. I quickly declined. Mom, the police have confirmed it with my uncle, and there must have been criticism in education in the past. If I go there, I won't be able to match the number, so I guess it won't work. You have to go by yourselves. My mother had that aggrieved and hypocritical smile again. Just as she was about to say something, I quickly picked up my bag and stood up. It seemed that I couldn't have this meal today. Shouting was probably left on the road by her cousin, so I went to find him. After that, I quickly slipped away. The money for this meal was saved, which was very good. It was perfect. I fought back a little and felt a little better. However, this is still a long way from my revenge in my previous life. Now these are just snacks before dinner. Zhao Shouting may have asked my cousin for my contact information. She sent me a message and asked me to take a taxi to find her. It seems that she likes the fake Bulgari necklace very much. It was not given to her in vain. When I saw Zhao Shouting, she had already hung the 9.9 necklace around her neck. Although it was thrown on the street, she didn't seem to be angry. She is quite good at pretending. Let's go, Shouting. Tao Tao has been detained. What happened today? Nothing can be done, sister will take you for a casual stroll. Zhao Shouting was overjoyed to hear this, and readily agreed. In his eyes, I must be a rich man and he must be thinking of ripping me off, but I don't plan to invest too much in him as long as I can achieve my goal. I specifically picked a large shopping mall, the kind where you buy things first and pay later. As soon as I entered the door, I told him to pick whatever he wanted. Zhao Shouting was even happier, and she was even more unceremonious when buying things, specifically buying expensive things, and became closer to me, chattering all the way. But most of them were some happy and interesting stories between him and his cousin. I don't know if they were true or made up to please me. I sighed and said, Shouting, sister, I can see that you are a girl from a good family. We get along very well when we chat. I will tell you the truth. In fact, my uncle's family conditions are really ordinary. The house where you are scheduled to meet today is actually ours. When Zhao Shouting heard this, he was stunned. I could see that he could hardly hide the anger in his eyes, but they told me that they were going to buy a villa on Dongshan Mountain. He was anxious. I was secretly happy in my heart. It seems that I performed well. I held Zhao Shouting's hand, looking like I was thinking long-term for him. Shouting, you may not know much about our place. Dongshan is far away from the city. Have you ever considered how far it is to go back and forth there? Life is very inconvenient, and that is why the so-called villas in Dongshan are so cheap. Otherwise, why do you think they would buy them for you? As I spoke, I selected a few expensive cosmetics and put them in Zhao Xiaoping's shopping cart. This action of mine made him feel that he was looking for a soulmate in the world. Illusion, he took my hand and asked me what to do. I sneaked up to him and whispered that my uncle's family is very smart. Even if they buy a house, they won't write your name on it, so you have to take the initiative. There is a sales office on the second floor of this shopping mall. The houses sold there are real school district houses with complete surrounding facilities. You can find out more and then go back and tell my uncle. If it doesn't work, don't you still have a baby in your belly? As I said this, I gently touched Zhao Xiaoping's lower abdomen, hinting him, but the touch was indeed padded with cloth. Zhao Xiaoping smelled. He smiled happily again and took my hand to go to the second floor. I smiled apologetically, indicating that I was a little tired from shopping, and asked him to go up by himself while I waited for him here. Seeing that my goal had been achieved, I couldn't stay here any longer. If I really had to check out the things in the shopping cart, I would have emptied my money. I quickly slipped away and sent a message to Zhao shouting before leaving, saying that the traffic police team was in a hurry to let me go over. I would go over and deal with it first and take you shopping another day. I successfully escaped the bill. About half a week later, my mother called me again. Her tone was still as hypocritical as before. My daughter, are you busy these days? Mom and Dad miss you. Why don't you come back and stay for 2 days? You miss me. If I hadn't died once, I might really believe it. After all, there is no mother in the world who doesn't miss her daughter. Unfortunately, my heart is already sealed, and I dare not ask for this so-called maternal love anymore. I chuckled and said, Mom, my room has been given to my uncle, and there is nothing in the house that belongs to me. What should I do if I go back? My mother paused for a long time after hearing this and laughed again. You can all hear the embarrassment. My daughter, it was Mom's fault before. Mom rented a house downstairs. You come back to live in this one. After all, it involves your cousin's marriage. As his elder sister, you have to bear more responsibility. I agreed this time, but not because I was convinced by him. This was just one step in the plan. As soon as I got home, I was stopped downstairs by my mother. She took me into the house downstairs, which was the kind of partition room made by the rental agency. A regular 3-bedroom and 1 living room was divided into several rooms with foam fake walls. The next door every night. I can hear the applause for love clearly. At most, the small house of 20 square meters only has a double bed and a sofa. My mother rubbed her hands and smiled embarrassedly, saying that she was afraid that shouting would see us and disturb her and Taotao's lives. I live closer and it is convenient to take care of my daughter. I will sleep on this sofa and live with my parents. I turned my head to look at my father who was sitting in the corner of the sofa. He looked out the window in a daze with a cigarette in his hand. The ashes have accumulated to a lot, and his face is full of sorrow. Yes, he originally had a complete family. I sat next to my father and sighed softly. When my soul floated up after my death in my previous life, I saw that my father was finally angry and had a big fight with my mother. He was the only one who was sad about my death, and he was the only one who took care of my funeral. In this family, he is the one I am most worried about, and I want to take him out of the sea of suffering. My mother also sat next to me intimately, took my hand and acted like a small family chatting. My daughter, I asked you to sign a guarantee agreement before. It was indeed wrong for me to do this. It was Mom's inconsiderateness that made things difficult for you. Today, Mom wanted to ask you for a small favor. I knew that no one would come to see you for no reason. I have seen through this mother of mine a long time ago, and she never talked about the matter when there was something to say, but always pulled the person to her side before speaking. I remained silent, waiting for his next words. My mother smiled awkwardly again, and began to act like a child. She talked about some old stories about how good my uncle was to me when I was a child. Whether it was true or not, I didn't remember it anyway. I was almost impatient with his idle talk and finally got to the point. That didn't you disagree when I talked to you about the money guarantee last time? A few days ago, Shouting came back and insisted that your uncle buy her a new wedding house, and it had to be a Western-style house. You also know your uncle's family, so this is indeed a bit difficult. Mom was thinking that you have been promoted recently, and you must have hundreds of thousands of dollars in your hands. How about using $500,000 to help your brother? So now you don't want to take my house anymore, so just let me pay $500,000 directly. Mom, how did you come up with so many tricks to cheat your daughter? What does other people's marriage have to do with you? Besides, you said you can't take out the 500,000 yuan, so can you lend me the money I owe you? Mom, it's true that I got a promotion recently, but Ashang's expenses in the hospital are also not small. I invested all my money in the hospital, and now I don't have much money on hand. When my mother heard this, she couldn't hold it anymore and stood up with a start. What, you spent all the money on that loser delivery man? I said, have you grown up with a brain? You can't tell the difference between the big and small Wong, and who is your home? Why are you turning your elbow outward now? I really raised you for nothing, and raised a ungrateful wolf. My mother scolded more and more excitedly, and she was a little angry. It was obvious that she had been holding it in for a long time. This is his hypocrisy. As for his true face behind the smile, I actually quite like seeing him like this, at least it doesn't make me feel sick. I smiled and said, since you like your brother so much and love your eldest nephew so much, why don't you mortgage your house and use it as collateral to buy him a new house? You might as well just sell the house and transfer the money to them. Logically, I should be angry, but I was calm at this moment. I picked up my bag and turned to leave, but I happened to run into a man in a suit who looked like a real estate agent. He said, "Hi, hello, you must be the daughter of this old couple. They rented a partition room from my place and said they are waiting for you to come over to pay the rent. Our lease is for 3 years, the total is 58,000. Do you want to pay in cash or by card?" Turned out to be an agent. The young man looked at me with a smile on his face, holding a POS machine in his hand. I turned my head and looked at my mother who was still scolding me, and gave her a smile. I really underestimated you. My mother was scolding me vigorously. Now look at the agent and the expression on my face. I am not sure whether I am angry or not, and I am quite at a loss. But she still had the audacity to squeeze out an ugly smile. My daughter, if you don't help your cousin, you will not refuse to help your parents, right? Why not? Why shouldn't I? I grinned and said, what do you say? I bypassed the agent. She left alone, with my mother's hysterical roar echoing in the corridor. You'll remember to smoke if you smoke all day. Look at the bastard you gave birth to. Even you and I don't recognize your parents, and you still have the mind to smoke here. I tell you, I'm going to sell the house today. If my Tao can't find a wife, we'll break up and get a divorce. My dad has been tortured by my mom all his life. Listening to these heart-piercing words, my heart ached. I picked up my phone and sent a text message to my dad. Dad, if you feel that our family can't make ends meet, your daughter will take good care of you for the rest of your life. You should know Ashing and he will treat you well. Hello, it's Xiaolu. How's the villa going? A joyful voice came from the phone. Oh, I really have to thank you. I didn't expect that our real estate developer has given up, but you can still help me negotiate this deal. You are really my god of wealth. I smiled slightly. Everything was as I expected. After that day, my mother really sold the house at home and raised the down payment for a villa for Zhao Shouting and my cousin. More than 1 million was only enough to pay 40% of the down payment, and there was still a loan to pay back. I don't know what else they mortgaged. I thought about it. It was probably only a few pieces of jewelry passed down by my grandmother, which were relatively valuable, but those were my father's lifeblood. Could he really do such a thing? I listened to the compliments on the phone and smiled. It's good that the matter is done. The commission promised to me must be given to me. Don't worry, I won't give you a penny less. 2 days later, I was taking care of my fiancé in the hospital. He recovered well and was able to get out of bed and walk. After a while we can go together. He has already sold the house. My parents-in-law took the money and left first. This time my father came. He looked older than the last time we met, with white hair and hunched over. Yes, my mother and my uncle were lying on their bodies. Such a family, vampires have been sucked for a lifetime. It would be strange if they didn't become vicissitudes of life. Dad, what are you doing? As soon as I opened my mouth, my father burst into tears and sobbed. I'm my fiancé and I helped my father sit on the chair. It took him a while to recover and tell us the whole story. It turned out that my mother really sold the family house. Not only that, she also mortgaged the heirlooms left by my grandmother. My father was so angry that he said a few words to my mother. My mother directly threatened him with divorce, but unexpectedly, my father agreed. My mother was embarrassed, or perhaps she felt that my father was no longer of any use, so she went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to go through the divorce procedures. However, my father was an honest man and left the house with nothing. At this point, perhaps he thought of the grievances he had suffered in his life, or perhaps he felt unprecedented relief. My father began to cover his face and cry again, but my mind was clear. Now that my father has come to my side, my last weakness is gone, and the plan can go on. Just as I was thinking about it, Xiaolu, the seller of the villa, sent me the transfer. I gave it all to my father. You take this money. These are the heirlooms that should have belonged to you. I will redeem them for you. Don't worry, in 2 days Ashen will take you out for a walk to relax. The future will get better and better with us here. You just wait to enjoy it. After hearing these words, my father's expression finally eased a lot. He took out a household registration book from his arms. This was after the divorce. I quietly took the household registration book at home, took a photo and went to the police station to make up for it. I did it. I'm afraid your mother will embarrass you. You can use this to transfer your household registration. I excitedly took the household registration booklet. I never thought that my father would think so deeply about me. Time passed quickly. My fiancé's legs were basically fully recovered. He took his father away. During this period, I was negotiating 2 key businesses. The whole company was staring at me, but I was not under much pressure. Relying on my memories of my previous life, these were easily handled by me. The boss asked me to talk to him, affirmed my recent performance, and started the process to arrange for me to be transferred to a branch company in another city. There is my new home there. Now I am the only one left here, ready to try the final stage of the plan. After so much planning, it is finally time to close the net. I was handling the handover procedures that day when my mother called me. Daughter, how is my son-in-law's health recovering recently? According to my calculations, they should be under great pressure to repay the mortgage now. It is very likely that he called me because he is short of money. My hypocritical mother is still the same old trick. She likes to involve some useless things. Let's get to the point, Mom. If you have something to say, just say it. My mother laughed dryly and said, Daughter, your father went to the sales department to defend his rights 2 days ago and accidentally fell. Now he is lying in the hospital. You also know that the family is in financial difficulty now. Can you transfer some money to mom for medical treatment and rights protection? Oh yes, I guess the developer has stopped construction of the rotten houses, so they must be very worried now. I was secretly happy, but I also knew that my dad must not have fallen. He went out to travel with my fiancé. This was just my mom testing me deliberately, and also to find an excuse to ask me for money. I deliberately said, "Mom, why did you think of me for this kind of thing? Don't you have a precious nephew? You care about him so much. How come he doesn't care about you now that you are in trouble?" My mom quickly excused my cousin isn't how busy taking care of shouting recently. It's understandable that I can't take care of him, you are free anyway. And there is no pressure, can you bear to watch my parents suffer? Well, I smiled and said, "Mom, I really can't bear it." "How much did you spend in the hospital?" "Send me the medical records and prescriptions and I'll transfer the money to you. You also know that your daughter is in financial difficulty now." When my mother heard what I said, she was immediately angry. Where can he find a doctor to issue a medical record for my father? He can't even contact my father. You are a conscienceless, ungrateful person. Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? You gave money to that stranger you met from nowhere and asked him to treat the disease. Now your father is sick and you are still making excuses. He cursed more and more harshly, and I hung up the phone directly. They are now at the end of the road. I just need to add one last fuel to the fire, and then the matter will be settled. I think he will take the initiative to find me. That day I had just finished the household relocation procedures at the police station, and was about to go to the supermarket to buy something to express to my fiancé and father. On the way I met an acquaintance, Zhao shouting, "My good girl, I haven't seen you for a while. You are the last spark of my revenge plan. I thought you wouldn't come." In order to deceive my uncle's family, Zhao shouting pretended to be very hard. Her belly was bulging and she looked like she had been pregnant for a long time. As soon as he saw me, he rushed up to me quickly, with anger in his eyes that was no longer concealed. "You lied to me," he questioned me nakedly, without any disguise. I looked at him leisurely, with only a smile on my face. He took out the necklace from his pocket and put his hand on me. In front of me, "The necklace you gave me was fake, and the time you took me shopping that day was also fake. You also lied to me and asked me to buy an unfinished house. I have no grudge against you. How dare you lie to me like this? Do you know that I am still pregnant with your uncle's blood? If I really get angry and something happens, can you really afford it?" I chuckled and shook my head. The girl is still too young. First of all, what is the relationship between me and my uncle's family? Can't you see it? Let alone any problem with you, even if all the people in their family died, do you think it would have any impact on me? Zhao shouting was suddenly speechless, and the aggressive momentum just now weakened by half. I stretched out 2 fingers in front of him, shaken. "Secondly, is this so-called bloodline in your mouth true or false? Do you think I don't know?" When He Huan heard my last 2 words, Zhao shouting, no, it was He Huan who couldn't bear it anymore. He showed horror on his face and even took a step back uncontrollably. "How do you know my real name?" "How do I know?" "Of course I know. With the memory of my previous life, I knew that you were a professional marriage fraud. How could I not investigate? All your initiative is in my hands now." I said slowly, "He Huan, you should know that since I can find out your real name, then I know every experience of your marriage fraud in the past clearly." I deliberately prolonged the sound and paused for a while. He Huan was really anxious. She grabbed my hand and said anxiously, "Cousin, just tell me, what do you want me to do in order for you to let me go?" "Little girl, are you very sensible? I am optimistic about you." I patted her hand gently and said with a smile, "If you want me not to call the police, that's fine. But I hope you can continue to put pressure on my uncle's family." He Huan looked embarrassed and sighed. "Cousin, the villa you recommended is too expensive. Our family really has no money now. We can't even say a word. It's not that I don't want to help you. I laughed until I had no money. If you have no money, you can borrow it. People like you who make money with a guilty conscience, how can you not know a few people? It's best if the lenders have background and power. Recommend a few to my uncle and his family, and the matter will be resolved, right?" He Huan was stunned by my words. The unquestionable coldness in his heart made him shudder with fear, and he looked at me with some horror. Maybe he didn't understand. After all, my uncle's family and I were relatives. Why did it have to be like this? It was a life-and-death feud. In fact, I didn't know anything about He Huan's past. I just looked up his name. Even if I wanted to do something to him, I had no evidence. He was panicked and voluntarily became my tool. A few days later, my mother came to me again and said that she wanted me to help her look at the decoration style. This time she would definitely not mention money to me. No one would believe you if you didn't mention money. I rejected him decisively, which completely ignited him. He yelled at me madly on the other end of the phone, saying something about being hit by a car when going out. I was cursed with all sorts of evils such as being hit by a car, giving birth to a son without an asshole, etc. Even so, he still didn't feel satisfied enough. I thought it must be because He Huan did a great job. Their family now owes a lot of high-interest loans, and they are probably being harassed by debtors, so they are so anxious. Haha, then be a little angrier. Only in this way will you lose your mind step by step. Be a little angrier, and I'll tell you, you don't have this family in your heart, but you can never escape from this family. Your mother will drink the blood on you. Humph, you want to marry that loser who delivers takeout, right? The household registration booklet is with me, and I will never agree to it unless you give it to me. Come on. 3 million for the betrothal gift. Otherwise you're dreaming about getting married. My mother finally calmed down and took out her final trump card after the falling out. At this moment, I am so grateful to my always silent old father for filling the most fatal gap in my seemingly perfect revenge plan. After hearing what my mother said, I actually felt the joy of surviving a disaster. Seeing that I was silent, my mother thought I was scared. On the phone, the voice on the other end even began to become a little proud. My daughter's mother said only angry words just now. As long as our family is fine, how could I not wish you happiness? Now your cousin is in trouble. You help him, he will definitely remember you for the rest of his life. Okay, I smiled. Mom, I will send you a photo on WeChat. You take a look. I took a photo of the household registration booklet of my transferred household and sent it to him. Then I took the phone far away. After being quiet for more than a minute, my phone suddenly became agitated. That loud voice, it was like the vibration mode was turned on for my phone. You prepared this in advance. You have been calculating against me. You have been calculating against your mother. You are not a human being. You are an ungrateful and conscienceless ungrateful person. I made a cup of coffee by myself. The house has been almost cleaned up. The moving company will be here soon. It will be here soon. It's time for me to leave. I didn't hang up the phone and let my mother vent on the other end of the phone. I tore her last trump card to pieces. She must be very desperate. Mom, this is the last filial piety your daughter can show you. Please scold me. I'm afraid the days ahead will be difficult. Juan sent me a text message saying that he had done what he should do. Mom, my uncle, and my cousin all successfully applied for usury, and he had secretly evacuated without taking anything. I called him back, but the card could not be dialed. It had been cancelled. His wife was gone, his children were gone, and the house he bought was shattered. I don't know my cousin, who was praised since childhood. Can the lonely boy in the palm of my hand withstand such a blow? Just as I was thinking about it, my uncle called me. I was a little surprised because my mother was always the vanguard. When did my uncle come out to contact me? I answered the phone, and as soon as the call was connected, he cursed me with a voice that made him want to spit saliva out of the receiver. I said calmly, "Uncle, please talk to me nicely. Why did you suddenly scold me for no reason?" My uncle was obviously very angry and a little incoherent. "You bastard, I tell you I will never let you go. Your mother was chopped on the arm by loan sharks yesterday. I was so scared. I passed out due to high blood pressure and am still lying in the unfinished building. My son and wife ran away and now I have become a madman. I have nothing now. My family is broken and my people are dead. You bastard, just wait. I can't live anymore. All this is your curse. I must kill you. I must kill you." My uncle roared hysterically and has completely lost his mind. This is the final result I want. Now it's time to deal with him. I opened WeChat Moments and posted a dynamic. "Today's sunshine is so good. I haven't felt so comfortable for a long time. I plan to go out for a trip tomorrow and never come back." I specially marked the location below the dynamic at the same time. I also thoughtfully attached a landmark picture, which is the People's Park in the city center. It was a crowded time at this time. I hoped that my uncle's remaining rationality could understand the hint I gave him. After doing all this, I tidied the protective gear I was wearing and sat quietly on a bench in the park, waiting for the final outcome. When the sun was about to set, the park was full of parents walking their children, and the crowds were getting denser and denser. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared in front of me, but he was countless times older than the one I had seen before. His expression was particularly hideous, more terrifying than all the demons I could imagine. "I wanted you, our Sonny. I want you to be in a good mood. I will kill you," he suddenly roared, and the people around him screamed in fear and fled in all directions, but my uncle had already taken out a shining knife and rushed towards me. I quickly hid my head and let him slaughter me, because there is a large flow of people in People's Park every day, so there are special police on duty every day, and in order to achieve the goal, my seat was also carefully selected, which can give my uncle enough time to attack me and also leave enough time for the special police to rescue me. Puff the first knife my uncle stabbed on the protective gear I was wearing. This old guy, he really intended to kill me. This protective gear only protects vital parts. At this time the sweat was almost there. Seeing that time was running out, he stabbed me a second time. I quickly stretched my arm to the blade and cut a cut. Blood immediately gushed out. The next second my uncle was controlled by the sweat and pinned to the ground. The knife in his hand was kicked far away. "I will kill you, you jinx. It's all your curse that our family is broken up." He was still cursing hysterically, but I was helped to get an injury assessment. The matter was over. My uncle was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempted intentional injury, and was imprisoned. I was put in jail with only minor injuries. I made a statement to the police, and it was proved that I had nothing to do with the incident. I walked out of the police station that night. Before leaving, I went to see my mother. She looked as old as if she was over 80 years old. She said nothing to me and sat in the courtyard of the unfinished building in a daze. The glass on the wall was sprayed with red paint, with the words "Pay your debt" written on it. I looked up at the second floor, and there was a boy of about 17 or 18 years old with unshaven beard, running around crazily shouting, "Wife hey, son hey, big house hey." I should have felt a little pity at this time, but unfortunately I didn't. I had also fallen in my previous life. It came to this, but no one even looked at me. At least I came to see him. I put 2 packs of instant noodles at the door and took a taxi. The traffic police team picked up my car. Half a month later, my fiancé and I got married smoothly. With my father's blessing, our new house was completed half a year later. 2 years later, our family had a new member. My father found an old lady who was very considerate and lived a happy old age. Later, I inquired about my mother's whereabouts, but she was no longer in the unfinished building. It was said that she ran away with her nephew to avoid debt. My uncle was said to be too scheming and offended many people in prison. One night, he was killed by a gangster boss. It's really a wheel of fate. No one can escape from the fate. The whole article ends.